Kaylee with the very special weather report. From up there to down here, everything is crazy. If we don't listen to scientists, things are going to be even crazier when I grow up.
小女孩不是危言耸听，才刚经历史上最热一年。经济学家说，考验才刚开始。
We are incorporating climate risk into our modeling and into our forecasting. It is starting to impact our longer-term economic projections. When I say long-term, more than a year or two. Over the next 10, 20 years, the biggest economic cost is going to be related to so-called physical risks. Those are the damage created by hurricanes and flooding and wildfires, which are occurring with greater frequency and causing increased economic loss that we're all going to have to struggle with.
极端天气来袭，被称为末日博士的卢比尼就描绘出人类即将面对的厄运。
Everybody says we're going to reach net zero, but there's a lot of greenwashing and green wishing rather than real specific plans. The economic and fiscal damage coming from climate change is going to become very severe very soon. In countries where climate change becomes severe, you'll have a collapse of economic activity, lack of water, desertification, collapse of agriculture.
面对挑战，各国大推能源转换，但这恐怕又是另一波考验。
And then, of course, the other cost is so-called transition cost, the cost of moving from an economy that's dominated by fossil fuels to one that's driven by clean energy and green energy. And that's a cost. You can see that the Inflation Reduction Act is an effort to provide tax credits to promote that transition, but that's a cost to taxpayers. It's not like something that's going to drive the economy off the rails at any given point in time. It's more like a weight on the economy, kind of like a corrosive on the economy.
要承受这么多的成本压力，但全球暖化可没有超级开关，做出改变就立刻有改善。对很多国家来说，这恐怕是一大难关。
Even if we turned off all the emissions immediately, we would still have decades, maybe even centuries of climate change, but it would be very gradual compared to what we're experiencing right now. We can't stop what's in the works already, but we need to do this because there is no way to adapt to what is now in store if we don't change our ways.
因此，专家强调，富裕国家承担起更多责任，才有机会真正看到变化。
Growth is necessary in order to meet our environmental goals. It's rich countries that are able to be environmentally responsible because they have enough wealth they can invest in wind and solar and also adaptation mechanisms. It's the poorest countries that are having the most difficulty adjusting.
经济学家认为，减碳的意识从个人到企业都已经是全球的共识，关键就在该做些什么，怎么去达成。这就需要政府跟学术界共同合作，拟定指导方针，协助企业度过转型期间的挣扎。
We want to understand how we have all these new technologies which are very disruptive in the economic sense. They change jobs, they change the way the economy works. They make a lot of winners whose winnings are bigger than the losing, but we need to make sure that we bring along society, not just have a more and more polarized society.
经济学家强调，就长远角度来看，环保绝对是一门好生意。
Clearly, there are a lot of opportunities for more structural changes, things like capital being directed towards climate change and the energy transition. But, without growth, we have to think a lot also about how we're going to continue to drive food production and think about improving livelihoods over the long term.
专家认为，环保跟经济发展并不是只能二选一，确实看到不同的痛点，做出改善，各国相互合作，才有机会真正力挽狂澜。体育新闻综合报道。
想看最完整的新闻内容，记得下载 TVBS 新闻网 APP。